The Strategic Sam Q&A is finally here. By the time you guys are watching this video is going to be at least roughly around 3 weeks after I posted the Q&A video where I told you guys to ask your questions. Now here we are, and we're going to be answering as many questions as possible. One thing to note that while I'm answering these questions is I've noticed that a good amount of them have been repeatedly asked. So what I'll be doing is if I see a repeated question, I won't answer it later on in the video. I'll just answer it the moment I see it, depending on when it was posted and when it was asked. So if it gets asked early on, I won't answer it later. But without further ado, let's get started with the Strategic Sam Q&A. First question comes from King_Angel, and they ask, how old are you? I am a whole 3 years old. The next question comes in from The Man with a Plan, and they ask, do you like The Streets 2? No, that game is absolutely horrible. The next question comes in from Dark STXXRS2, and they ask, can you shout me out, please? Sure, you guys know the deal. Go subscribe to Dark STXXRS2 on YouTube. Next question comes from Rare, and they ask, does ping affect PvP, such as 190 ping player versus 40 ping player? What would happen? What would happen in a scenario like this is the 190 ping player would have probably around a 1.5 second delay when they shoot or attack, compared to the 40 ping player where they have no delay whatsoever. So basically the 40 ping player will have a 0 delay advantage over the 190 ping player. Next question comes in from King Angel, and they ask, what do you play on? I play on PC. Next question comes in from Yak, and they ask, what your name? Well, if you haven't caught on from the title of my channel, I'll answer it here. My name is Sam. Next question comes in from Yak, and they ask, why you started to upload videos about the streets? Personally, it just got to me, and I was getting really bored with having all this awesome footage, so I decided to just put it together in a video and share it with everybody else. Next question comes in from Na, and they ask, you gonna start playing The Hood or other games on this channel? I plan to play a couple other games, but I don't know about The Hood because I tried it a couple times and it felt really weird, especially with the fact that you can die to one shot from a shotgun. Next question comes in from The Dream, and they ask, do you hate gacha life? Please say yes. I have no clue what that is. Next question comes in from Kelsey, and they ask, when did you first start playing the streets? I started playing the streets in mid-2017, probably around May or June of 2017. Next question comes from Pump X, and they ask, what makes the streets fun and a good game in your opinion? Please don't have a one-word answer. Personally, to me, what makes the game fun is that you're basically free and able to do whatever you want to do. You can kill people, you can talk to people, you can make friends, you can troll, you can pretty much do anything that you want. It's basically like an open ground where you can just kill or make friends. So really the choice is up to you. Next question comes in from L Scare, and they ask, how have you gotten good and how are you good at the parkour? Getting good just takes a lot of practice, to be honest. It just really depends on how much time and effort you're willing to put into practicing to get better at the game. And how I get good at parkour, being good at parkour is mainly about what you can do and what you discover on your own while you're playing the game. So if you make it like a certain jump or able to do a certain thing, then basically you're able to discover that on your own. So you can also like see how other people play and use the parkour tricks that they use as well. Next question comes from Elscare again, and they ask PC specs. I have a 1660 Ti, 16 gigabytes of RAM, AMD Ryzen 5 1600 6-core processor. They ask another question, and they ask, if you had to join a Roblox clan in the streets, what would it be? I would never join any clan because I think the idea of a clan is really stupid. They also ask what games you play other than Roblox. I usually play either Minecraft or Fortnite. Next question comes from Dis, and they ask, are you in love with me? Next question comes from John RYU, and they ask, prison or reg? Prison all the way after the update. Next question comes from Mar, and they ask, is Mariah better than Sam? I don't know, is she? Next question comes in from Stop Sign, and they ask, can you 1v1 me with fist, please? Sure, I don't mind. I love 1v1ing people. Next question comes from S, and they ask, who do you think is the best female The Streets player? Now this one I really have to think about because personally, in my opinion, I haven't really seen many pro female players that play this game. So mainly the ones that I can think of are going to be Jalen or K5SU, because I haven't seen Jalen play as much or play very competitive as of recently. Same applies to K5SU. So personally, if I were to think about who is better, I'd probably have to go with K5SU. Next question comes from Bolts Krillin, and they ask, how long did it take you to get good at the streets? Personally, I don't even know. I just got good over time, but I don't know exactly how long it took me because it's just mainly based off of how much effort you're willing to put into practicing. Next question they ask is, what is your setup like, or what is your mouse and keyboard? I don't really know how to describe my setup, but if you want to know my mouse and keyboard, I have a Corsair K63 keyboard and I have a G502 as my mouse. They also ask, are you noob? The biggest one. They also ask, when did you start playing Roblox? I started playing in late 2012. Next question comes from Raheem, and they ask, are you the king of the streets? I wouldn't say I'm the king, but I would say I'm just the king of strategy. Next question comes from Smiles, and they ask, am I better than you and Mariah? I don't know, are you? Next question comes from Ethan, and they ask, are you EU or US? I'm US. Next question comes from Autumn is Cool, and they ask, am I better than you, Mariah, and Marie? I don't know, are you? Next question comes from Aura, and they ask, is the streets a good game? What are your thoughts and opinions on not only the game, but the community, lag, server regions, updates, and the creator too? What opinions do you have on the weapons of the game, and do you think it is unfair on those without game passes? Alright, so this is a mouthful, and I can already tell it was. So, what makes the streets a good game is, as I said earlier, you're able to do whatever you want, and it's an open ground. So, you're either able to make friends, fight people, team up on people, troll around, just have an endless amount of ideas that you want. My thoughts on the community is that it is very, very toxic. This is the one game that I've played on Roblox that actually has a lot of toxicity compared to other games. So if you're ready to play this game, I would recommend being ready to experience a lot of things such as ground hitting, teaming, multiple people teaming on one person, exploiters, and so forth. Lag in the game is a very common issue, because there's this one point in the game where there'll be a giant lag spike, and it has been around since around 2018, I believe, and basically it'll lag the server for 5 to 10 seconds for literally everybody, so it's not only an issue on your end. And it happens in both regular the streets and the prison. There's not many server regions. The only regions that I can think of is Central, East, West, and EU. I've mainly been getting put in East servers, so I don't think that there's many other server regions as of currently. The creator of the game, I personally think, is really, really lazy, and he just doesn't care about the game in general, and it's really been showing when there's a lot of potential that he can make out of this game. Because for fun fact, he has actually made over 100 million Robux off of this game from when it was first created. If you convert that into USD from DevX, that is $100,000. And that was only calculated from about 2, 3, maybe 4 game passes alone. And there's about 8 to 9 game passes, probably even more. So imagine how much money he would have made if I were to calculate all of those. My opinions on the weapons are, if you find a certain weapon on the map, it's probably not going to be that useful, and it would only be useful for a limited amount of time, because you're going to lose it if you die, obviously. But if you have stuff like game passes and the default weapons, then you should be good to work with those, because you have to learn how to use those more than you would have to use with the found weapons that you find in the regular streets. And if I think that the game is unfair without the ones that have game passes, yes, it is unfair. For the most part, not entirely. If you know how to play, you can actually outplay people who do have game passes. You just need to know what you're doing. But for the most part, it is unfair. Next question comes from Mari, and they ask, how many people do you beef with, and name some? I beef with quite a few. I will not name them because that is doing a little bit too much. They also ask, did Mari slap you with fists? I know 5 Mari, so you're going to have to specify which one. Next question comes from Kino, and they ask, will you go back to posting games other than just Roblox, such as Minecraft, Fortnite, etc.? Yeah, I have a plan to do that actually, probably later on. Next question comes from Aim Cancel, and they ask, what top do you think I am? I'm Aim Cancel, by the way. Personally, I haven't heard of you or seen you play, so I really don't know. Next question comes from 90s, and they ask, who is your favorite The Streets YouTuber? Probably Lunacy Hill. Next question comes from Rare, and they ask, any advice for a high ping player like me? My best recommendation is try to get a wired connection while you're playing, because that'll reduce your ping and make it so that you have less ping spikes and less of a chance to have high ping. Next question comes from Happy, and they ask, what was your first 1v1 1v1 that the person was popular. IR just had a fan base. Personally, I don't recall many people I've 1v1'd back then, so my most recent one I will just name will probably just be Lunacy Hill. Next question comes from Quit Zenko, and they ask, am I the best mobile player you fought? Yes, you are, and you're absolutely insane. Next question comes from Super Sony Force, and they ask, how many people already know about the prison? A lot of the pros. Next question comes from Flex, and they ask, when did you stop playing Reg? I actually stopped playing Reg for the most part in the June 2020 update, where there was a update to basically the guns and the physics. Next question comes from whatever that name is, and they ask, what is your favorite game, favorite food, favorite YouTuber, and what's your editing software? My favorite game is The Streets. My favorite food will probably be shrimp Alfredo. My favorite YouTuber is probably Bounty Hunter D, and my editing software is DaVinci Resolve 16. Next question comes from Edward, and they ask, are there any glitches at The Streets that are cool that you know of? If there are any glitches, they will be found mainly in my tips and tricks videos, so be sure to check those out if you want to find out any glitches. I would name them right now, but there's just way too many to go over. Next question comes from T-He, and they ask, will you join me in the streets? Probably not. Next question comes from VelQA, and they ask, have you seen an alien before? Nope. Next question comes from Miss Geo, and they ask, how old are you, and what clan do you personally think is the best? I am a whole 3 years old, and I don't think any clan is good, in my personal opinion. Next question comes from XAODI, and they ask, thoughts on new gens? Most of them try to act good, but they actually end up getting slapped by old gens. Next question comes from Maggie, and they ask, how long until you plan to quit the streets? Fairly soon. Next question comes from Worthy, and they ask, are you okay? Yeah, I'm great. How about you? Next question comes from 900NZ, and they ask, what's the best sensitivity for mouse and keyboard? This is more so of a preference question. I can't really tell you what the best settings are, and it's mainly just about what you're comfortable with. But if you want to know my settings personally, I have a cam sense of 0.19, and my DPI is 800. Next question comes from Taboo VCat, and they ask, am I top 1 brick player? If you can kill exploiters while playing legitimately, while having decently high ping, and make 2 full montages about it, you are the top 1 in my book for almost anything. Next question comes from Meme Lizard, and they ask, can you show your gaming setup? Probably soon. Next question comes from Rare, and they ask, does headshot hits still apply for the new streets? They do, but only counts for the Glock and the Uzi. Next question comes from Dot, and they ask, what gaming gloves do you use, and are you cute in real life? I don't use gloves, and I suppose so. Next question comes from Shamelia, and they ask, how to clap a whole gang of 5, and what made you become a YouTuber for your career? Well, first off, if you're attacking more than one person and you're fighting more than one person by yourself, your best option is to shoot and run, because you cannot point blank 5 people and expect to do good while they're all shooting you at the same time. It's just impossible. Not even the top players can do it, because that is really hard. YouTube isn't a career for me though, it's just a side thing. Mainly this is all a project. I don't plan to make YouTube a full-time career or any kind of career anytime soon. Next question comes from AmCW, and they ask, do you love beans? Beans are really good. Next question comes from Meme Lizard, and they ask, can try to play the streets on mobile? Probably soon I'll make a video on that. But yeah guys, that wraps up the Strategic Sam Q&A. If you guys did enjoy, then please feel free to leave a thumbs up on this video. And also, if I didn't answer your question, feel free to comment it down below, and I'll probably answer it for anybody else who missed out. And yeah, catch you guys in the next video. Catch you guys around.